You know, machine learning is everywhere these days.
It is, isn't it?
It seems like magic. Almost.
Yeah.
Recommending your next favorite song, filtering out spam. But
Yeah.
what if I told you even these seemingly magical systems can be tricked?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if someone could manipulate the very algorithms that are supposed to be learning and protecting us?
Yeah, that's a big concern, actually.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
It is a bit like a magic trick, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just like a magic trick, understanding the illusion kind of requires looking behind the curtain a bit.
Right.
So we're going to go deep on this research paper from UC Berkeley.
Okay.
It asks this, the big question: can machine learning be secure?
Now, we're not going to turn you into a cybersecurity expert overnight or anything.
Oh, no.
We're going to pull out the key takeaways, though.
Yeah.
The aha moments that'll change how you think about the role of machine learning in the world.
Exactly. I think we'll start with understanding how these systems can be attacked, what those attacks might look like in the real world,
Right.
and
What?
if anything, can be done to defend against them.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
The paper uses an intrusion detection system, or IDS example,
Right.
to illustrate how machine learning works.
Like those annoying security checks you have to do online.
Exactly.
Proving you're not a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if someone figured out how to trick those systems.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're dealing with here.
So the IDS is like...
It's like a digital guard dog sniffing out suspicious activity on a network.
Okay.
And it learns by analyzing normal network traffic,
Yeah.
and also known examples of intrusions.
Right.
So it's being trained, just like a real guard dog,
Sure.
to tell the difference between, a friendly visitor
Yeah.
and someone trying to break in.
So just like our brains, it's all about recognizing patterns.
It is, yep.
But instead of relying on instinct, the IDS is crunching data using algorithms.
Yeah.
But here's where things get really interesting
Okay.
and maybe a little unnerving.
All right.
The paper introduces this concept of an adversary, someone who wants to fool the system.
Right.
And this isn't just about algorithms now.
No.
It's like a game of cat and mouse.
Exactly. And the adversary's goal
Yeah.
is to exploit weaknesses in the machine learning system
Okay.
or to manipulate the data it learns from.
Right. So they're trying to make the system make mistakes or break down completely.
Potentially both.
Okay.
To understand this, the paper breaks these attacks down into 3 key dimensions.
All right. So let's break down these dimensions. First, we've got influence.
Okay.
Is the attacker directly messing with the data the system learns from? Or are they just probing for weaknesses?
Yeah.
Like, are they tampering with the evidence?
Yeah.
Or just casing the joint?
The paper calls those causative and exploratory attacks.
Causative and exploratory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the question of specificity.
Yeah.
Are they laser focused on a specific goal?
Okay.
Or are they just trying to cause general chaos?
Right.
Think of it as the difference between a targeted sniper
Yeah.
and someone just like throwing grenades randomly.
Mhm.
So we've got causative versus exploratory
Right.
and targeted versus indiscriminate.
Yeah.
What's the third dimension?
The third one is the security violation itself.
Okay.
Are they trying to make the system misclassify things
Gotcha.
or make it completely crash and burn?
So are they trying to make the guard dog
Yeah.
think a wolf is a friendly puppy?
Yeah.
Or just trying to distract it
Mm.
while their accomplice sneaks in the back door?
The paper calls these integrity versus availability attacks.
Okay, so we've got our 3 dimensions:
Mm-hmm.
influence, specificity, and security violation.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how this gets complex quickly.
It does. And by combining these 3 dimensions, we can create a taxonomy of different attack types.
Okay.
Let's go back to that IDS example.
Okay.
A causative targeted integrity attack would be like slipping a virus past the IDS by making it think it's harmless.
Right.
So the attacker is directly changing the training data to achieve a very specific goal.
Okay.
They're tampering with the guard dog's training
Yeah.
to make it think a wolf is friendly.
Oh, wow, that's sneaky.
It is?
And what would an exploratory indiscriminate attack look like?
So imagine someone trying to map out the IDS's blind spots by throwing all sorts of bad traffic at it just to see what gets through.
Okay.
They're not after a specific target. They're
Mhm.
just trying to find any weakness they can exploit.
So it's like a digital version of rattling doorknobs to see which one's unlocked.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is starting to feel like we're in a spy movie.
A little bit.
If these attacks can be so subtle and sophisticated,
Yeah.
how on earth do we defend against them?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And luckily, the paper does offer some potential solutions. And the truth is, there's no easy answer. In fact, the very nature of machine learning makes this a constant arms race. We'll dig into some of those defenses next time.
Okay.
But let me just leave you with this.
Right.
Even seemingly simple systems can be manipulated if you know how they work.
Oh, wow.
So stay tuned, because things are about to get even more intriguing.
Okay. Okay, so last time, we left off on kind of a cliffhanger.
We did.
We've seen how these attackers can really exploit these systems.
Yeah.
But how do we fight back?
Right.
Like, is there any hope?
There is hope.
Okay.
But it is a constant battle.
Okay.
The paper outlines several defense strategies.
Great.
But each comes with its own trade-off.
Okay.
One approach is to increase the system's robustness.
Okay.
Or making it less sensitive to manipulation.
So basically, make it tougher to trick.
Precisely. One technique called regularization is like putting bumpers on a bowling lane.
Okay.
It keeps the ball from going completely off track.
Yeah.
Even if you throw a terrible shot,
Right.
it adds constraints to the learning process, preventing these wild swings from bad data.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like we're trying to make the system more resilient to those causative attacks we talked about, where someone's directly messing with the training data.
Exactly.
What other defenses are there?
Another strategy is to focus on attack detection.
Okay.
It's like having a security camera
Okay.
that alerts you if someone's lurking around your house.
Right.
So by analyzing the patterns of incoming data,
Yeah.
we can try to spot anomalies that suggest someone's trying to game the system.
So that sounds promising, but what if the attacker's really good at hiding their tracks?
Well, then we might have to get a little more creative.
Oh.
The paper mentions disinformation as a defense tactic.
Disinformation.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to fight fire with fire.
Feed the attacker bad information to throw them off.
Precisely.
Wow.
It's a way to make it harder for the attacker to understand the system and exploit its weaknesses.
Okay.
It's a delicate dance, though.
Yeah.
You have to be incredibly careful not to burn down the whole house, so to speak.
I can see how that could backfire.
Yeah.
If you're feeding the system bad information,
Right.
wouldn't that also risk messing up its ability to learn correctly?
Absolutely. That's the challenge with disinformation.
But
It requires a deep understanding of both the machine learning system and the attacker's potential tactics.
right.
It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy.
So we've got robustness, attack detection, and disinformation. Any other tricks up our sleeve?
Well, another approach is randomization.
Okay.
Think of it like how websites make you change your password regularly.
Yeah.
It throws off attackers who might have stolen an old version.
Right, right.
So by introducing unpredictability,
Okay.
we make it harder for the attacker to pinpoint vulnerabilities.
So instead of a static, predictable system,
Right.
we're constantly changing things up to keep the attacker guessing.
Exactly.
I like it. But doesn't that also make the system itself less reliable?
It can.
If it's constantly changing,
Right.
how can we be sure it's always going to make the right decisions?
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
There's always a balance to be struck between security and performance.
Right.
Too much randomization, and the system might become erratic.
Yeah.
Too little, and it becomes an easy target.
Gotcha.
It's about finding that sweet spot. And it's not always easy.
So there's no silver bullet solution.
Not really.
Just a lot of clever strategies and tough choices.
Yeah.
But all these defenses seem to rely on us knowing how these attacks work. What if the attacker knows more about the system than we do?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
And this is where the paper's discussion of secrets and computational complexity comes in.
Okay, hold on. Computational complexity. Can
Yeah.
you break that down for me?
Yeah.
That sounds a little intimidating.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Some problems are easy to solve, like adding two numbers.
Right.
But others, like cracking a super long password,
Yeah.
take a ridiculous amount of computing power.
Okay.
That difficulty is what we mean by complexity.
So the more complex a system is,
Yeah.
the harder it is to crack, even if you know how it works.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that complexity can be a powerful defense,
Right.
but it's not foolproof.
Right.
The paper explores what happens if the attacker has complete knowledge of the system versus knowing nothing at all.
Okay.
And what they find is that the attacker's level of knowledge significantly impacts their ability to succeed.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like trying to break into a house.
right.
If you know the layout, the security system, and the family's routines,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to pull off a heist.
Precisely.
Right.
So it's not just about building robust systems,
Mhm.
it's also about protecting the information surrounding those systems.
Okay.
It's like building a fortress. You need strong walls,
Yeah.
but you also need to keep the blueprints out of enemy hands.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
Right.
So it's like a whole new level of security we need to be thinking about.
It is.
But is it even possible to keep all that information secret in the real world?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, information leaks all the time, right?
Exactly.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
And it's one of the big questions that the paper leaves us grappling with.
Right.
But before we spiral into an existential crisis here,
Okay.
let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about something a little less abstract.
Okay.
The paper walks through a fascinating theoretical example
Right.
of how a simple machine learning system can be manipulated.
Okay.
And this one hits close to home for anyone who's ever felt like an outsider.
Okay, now you've got my attention.
All right.
Let's hear it. So last time we were talking about how even these simple machine learning systems can be manipulated.
Right.
What's this theoretical example that the paper uses?
Well, it focuses on outlier detection,
Okay.
which is essentially about finding the oddball in a data set.
Okay.
So imagine you're drawing a circle around normal data points.
Okay.
Anything outside that circle is considered an outlier.
I'm picturing it.
Okay, good.
So how does the attacker try to mess with this?
Right.
Are they like erasing data points or something?
It's more subtle than that.
Right.
The attacker wants to sneak their bad data point in.
Okay.
So they try to shift that circle, the boundary of what's considered normal,
Okay.
just enough to let their data point kind of slip in.
So it's like they're redrawing the lines on a map to claim new territory.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
They do this by strategically introducing new data points that influence the system's calculations.
So they're like subtly nudging the circle until it encompasses what they want it to.
Exactly.
Sneaky.
It is.
But wouldn't that require a lot of knowledge about the system?
Yeah.
How do they even know where to nudge?
Well, that's exactly what makes this so interesting.
Okay.
The paper actually walks through the attacker's strategy step by step,
Okay.
highlighting how important, like, timing and precision are.
Mm-hmm.
They even provide a mathematical formula for calculating the minimum effort required to pull this kind of attack off.
Okay. My math skills are a little rusty, but the key takeaway for me is that even these seemingly simple systems can be vulnerable if you know the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like knowing the right pressure points to exploit someone's weaknesses.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, right?
It is a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
And it raises a crucial question.
Okay.
How much can we actually hide in the real world?
Right.
You know, if an attacker has enough time, resources, and knowledge, can any system truly be considered secure?
Right. Those are some pretty big questions.
They are big questions.
It feels like we've been talking about machine learning in this, like, very abstract way, but it's getting real now.
It is, yeah.
This isn't just theory. This stuff is everywhere.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the heart of why this paper and this deep dive are so important.
Okay.
Machine learning is rapidly transforming our world. I mean, it's not just about fancy algorithms. It's about real-world applications that are already shaping our lives.
Like self-driving cars, personalized medicine.
Yeah.
Those financial algorithms that decide who gets a loan.
Mm-hmm.
It's even changing the way we consume news and information.
It is.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And it's only going to become more pervasive.
Absolutely.
So that's why this question of security is so crucial.
It's a big one.
As we entrust more and more decisions to these systems, we need to be confident that they're reliable.
Yeah.
Trustworthy.
Yeah.
And resistant to manipulation.
Absolutely.
Because the consequences of failure
Oh, yeah.
could be huge, right?
Huge.
Imagine a self-driving car being tricked into causing an accident.
Yeah.
Or a medical diagnosis system being manipulated to misdiagnose a life-threatening condition.
Right.
That's terrifying.
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
And it really highlights the need for a multifaceted approach to security.
Okay.
It's not just about building better algorithms.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of security
Yeah.
that permeates every aspect of development and deployment.
So it's like a mindset shift.
It is.
We need everyone involved to be thinking about this from the very beginning.
Precisely. And that culture starts with education and awareness.
Okay.
We need more people to understand the potential risks.
Yeah.
and be equipped with the knowledge and the skills to mitigate them.
Right.
It's not just the responsibility of a few experts anymore.
Right.
It's a shared responsibility.
So everyone from the developers to the end users needs to be aware of these potential vulnerabilities and take steps to protect themselves.
Exactly.
It's about being informed and empowered.
Yes.
Not fearful or paranoid.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Knowledge is our best defense.
Okay.
The more we understand how these systems work
Yeah.
and how they can be manipulated, the better equipped we'll be to protect ourselves and to promote responsible innovation.
So this has been a real eye-opener.
It has.
We started with this research paper asking, can machine learning be secure?
Right.
And it feels like the answer is a lot more complicated than just a yes or no. There's no easy answer.
Yeah.
It's a constant evolution.
It is.
This balance between pushing the boundaries of what's possible while also being mindful of the risks.
Well said.
But it's a challenge worth taking on.
It is.
Machine learning has the potential to do so much good in the world.
Yeah.
But we need to be smart about how we develop and deploy it.
I agree.
So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the security of machine learning.
Yes.
We hope you've learned something new. Maybe even had a few aha moments along the way.
Until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep diving deep.